Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Let me know if you are in the chat. It is time for some office hours, some hanging out on the live to see how everyone is doing and to update you on some things with Illumination Project, what I've been up to, what I've been learning, and hopefully that will provide some value to you, whether it's something I've been learning in the Word or what the Lord has been teaching me, or just as an artist and what I'm trying to do here through Illumination Project. So if you are here, let me know. If you can hear me, let me know. We are still kind of like working out the kinks of live streaming. I feel like I'll never actually get it right. So I'm going to check on my own here, see if we got some sound. Sounds like you can hear me on YouTube, which means you can probably hear me on Facebook. So we'll just go with a yes all around. Pull up this stuff real fast. Man, week's almost over. I feel like it's been a wild week. I feel like it's been not as wild of a week as yesterday. How have y'all been? How's the week been? I know those of you watching, it is a Thursday. Some of you don't work Friday. Maybe you work a church job and your church is kind of closed, office closed on Friday. Maybe you decided to take a long weekend. I don't know. Here in the States, we had a long weekend, Memorial Day weekend, which was great. I should have not worked the entire day, but I worked half of the day, like the morning time, on some Illumination Project stuff, on some band stuff that I'm planning, and then got to chill the rest of the afternoon with the family and at the house and kind of just do nothing, which was really nice after like a crazy week. We had like kindergarten graduation, preschool graduation, all those things, which are just draining sometimes emotionally and as a family. And so we had that and we loved going to them. I'm very grateful I got to go to all of them. But at the same time, just by the time Monday hit, I was like, man, I needed Monday. And now that kind of threw off the whole week. It seems when you have a day off, it doesn't take away much work. You still have to do all the work. And so now here we are on a Thursday, and I feel like I'm just now getting my week started. But let me know how you all are over on Facebook and YouTube. If you are watching on YouTube, I want to encourage you to subscribe and like the channel. I'm going to try to start putting a lot more resources into YouTube and what we're trying to do here. And as far as just equipping artists and equipping just followers of Jesus in their spiritual formation through art, like that's kind of the whole goal in behind this YouTube channel, and kind of giving you a glimpse on behind the scenes and office hours like this, where I get to share what I'm learning and hopefully provide some value to you. So if you are watching on YouTube, give it a like and subscribe. They tell me I have to say that. If I don't say that, you'll forget. But I feel like if you're on YouTube, like you probably know how YouTube works and you probably are well versed, probably maybe even more than I am in all the YouTube things. I'm going to make sure my chat on Facebook is coming through, because last time I was on live, it seemed that some of the comments and stuff weren't coming through until later. So I just want to make sure. Sounds good. Cool. Great. Well, let's get into it. One of the things I want to do during office hours and during... let me actually pull this up. Let me... I don't think I'm pulling anything up on screen unless you have questions. I'm always down to pull up questions on screen, but just want to get everything situated. Cool. So yeah, one of the things I want to do in these office hour streams and just in general updates is kind of give you a look at what's happened this past week, maybe something you've missed, or something coming up to look forward to. And I know in the midst of like the content wheel and the content struggle, it can be very easy to kind of like lose touch with what's happening with Illumination Project or what's happening with kind of just any of the things we follow along with. So my hope in doing this as a live stream is not only can I kind of provide some value and some insight into what we're doing, but also kind of update you on maybe something you've missed or something that got posted to social and just got lost in the void that is social media. So first things first, I just want to update you on some of the cool things that I've been able to put out through Illumination Project, some of the content we're working on, and hear from you if you have any feedback or questions about it. I'd love to share more about it. But first things first, coming up this Saturday, we are going to be redoing Sabbath sessions. We've done this a couple times where we kind of stream just an audio feed of some of the music that I've been working on here in the studio or some of the ideas I've been kind of laying out, just as a way to it's kind of a practice for me, but it's also a practice for maybe you in response to actually practicing a Sabbath. But one of the beauties of Sabbath is that we actually get to stop and rejoice in what has been done and honor the Lord with it, but also honor the Lord with things left undone. And so I started Sabbath sketches as kind of just a way to share these things, as a way to practice this myself, practice this idea of celebrating what I was able to accomplish that week while also trusting the Lord with the things kind of left undone. And so a lot of that time that's music or plans, stuff like that. So Sabbath sessions, it's a live stream, but I'm not actually live. We're just live streaming the music feed with like this cool animation. If you were here earlier for the countdown, you saw like me like at a computer making beats, like that's kind of the animation. And the idea behind this is not that you'll just sit there and listen to it all day, although that's encouraged and you're more than welcome to do so. But the hope is that maybe you start your Sunday or your Saturday morning, your Sabbath, you open up some music and just dive into the Word. We just kind of want to offer that like music bed for just a chill morning, rejoicing in what the Lord has done and what you've left undone and trusting Him with it. And so the idea of this is practice for me, but also some enjoyment for you, maybe a little radio station for you on Saturday morning. So that usually starts Saturday around like 8, and then it'll go to like the afternoon. I'm working on doing a longer stream, but we only have so much songs, so can't just like repeat them. So tune in for that Saturday around 9 a.m. The stream will start, but it'll just go for a good portion of the morning so that you can kind of pop in when you want to, pop out, and again, just enjoy this. We also might do it as a Patreon exclusive, as an audio. So if you want to and are interested in that, you can go over to our Patreon and join our crew, and you'll get that delivered to your phone like in podcast form. So you can just throw it on your headphones and maybe take a run or whatever you do. I don't run. I should probably, but yeah, that's coming Saturday. Also coming up, I'm in the process of planning some more green room sessions. So if you haven't yet, check out our song Fix My Eyes on Spotify. We released it about a month ago, and that was a cover of one of my favorite Kings tracks. But these upcoming green room sessions, they're going to be covers as well of some prominent CCM tunes or other music that I've really enjoyed. And it's going to be accompanied with a podcast that is kind of interviewing the other person that I'm doing it with, talking about the song, why we chose it, what we love about it, maybe what we don't love about it, that kind of thing. So really looking forward to those. I have to kind of track out the arrangement of those after this stream and early next week so I can get that done and to the people that are performing it. So that's update on that. Along with that, we released the song On and On. If you haven't heard it yet, it is on streaming on all streaming platforms. Wherever you can get music, it's there. And we are super pumped and super encouraged by the response that we've gotten from a lot of people as they've been listening. They seem to be enjoying it and resonating with kind of just the honesty and transparency of the song, which is my hope. My hope is to make music that people enjoy, obviously, but also make music that kind of pushes them into the arms of Jesus, even in the midst of tough situations, which On and On was kind of birthed out of that. So if you haven't had a chance yet to listen to that, I encourage you to head over to Spotify and listen to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. And last but not least, when I'm talking about songs informing our spiritual formation, you might have saw our last video, the video that actually just came out today, a little bit before this stream, where I talked about just my thoughts on the Jackie Hill Perry and Tim Ross worship challenge. If you haven't heard about that challenge, head over to that video a little bit later. You can watch that and get familiar with it. But they touched on this topic, and I really resonate with this. In fact, I think a lot of the new direction Illumination Project is going to be going is pushing into this idea more and more. But songs influence us. They change us, they form us, just like anything else. The content that we digest forms us. And so I kind of want to provide more than just music. I always have. And so I think I finally figured out a good way to deliver that. And that's just through like these ideas of like memos and meditations or things like this. But I wanted to try in like a more formal sense. And you may have seen this on social media. If you haven't, go check it out. But essentially, let me see if it's, yeah. So I started this thing. It's called the Psalm Challenge. And if you're interested in it at all, you can head over to illuminationproject.org/Psalm Challenge. And in this, it's a 5-day series. You'll get an email for 5 days. So just know that when you sign up, you're going to get an email from me 5 days in a row. But they're super short, super simple. Essentially what this is it's an extension of On and On, the song, into kind of a response. Sometimes artists like me, and I can do this. I can just throw out a song into the ether and not really set it up well or give you a way to digest it well. And so I know On and On deals with a lot of anxiety and a lot of just struggle with trusting God and those sorts of things. And so I wanted to kind of provide kind of a supplement for you if you feel that way too. So you can head over to illuminationproject.org/Psalm Challenge. And what this is it's a 5-day series of Psalms that I've really just kind of clung to this past year, as well as just recently walking with the Lord. Like, these Psalms stick out to me. They are ones that, if you know me, this will not be a shock to you. These Psalms will not be a shock to you at all. And essentially what I do is I give you the Psalm, I give you like a 2-sentence blurb about the Psalm, and then 2 action steps. So the first action step is a journal prompt, and then the second one is a creative prompt. And my hope for this is that you're not just hearing from me, but it gives you a chance to push into scripture and then practice some form of reflection, both in journaling and in creative action. So if you're an artist and a creative, this might be really easy for you. If you're not, it might be something worth exploring, something worth stretching, because again, doing these things kind of allow us to transform our heart and trust in what the Lord is doing. And so there's 2 prompts at the end of every email, a journal prompt and a creative prompt, to kind of just help the scripture sink in just a little bit more that day. So that's a 5-day challenge. Again, head over to illuminationproject.org/Psalm Challenge to kind of go through that. It's been fun. It's been happening now for a couple days, and I've gotten some emails back from those that are going through it, as well as some text messages of friends that are going through it, and they seem to be really enjoying it, enjoying those practices and those rhythms. So head over there. I'd love to just share that with you. So I think that's like the last update as far as things going on with Illumination Project. Again, office hours, I'm just popping in here, sharing about what we're doing. But I also want to kind of give you some things that I'm learning and some things that I am trying to explore, both in the business of like running a band and content creation and all that stuff, but also in the artistic practice. Some of the things that I've learned years ago that I'm trying to put more in practice or build upon even, and provide more clarity into that. And so the first thing I want to talk about is about planning. So I don't know about you, but planning is really, really tough for me. I at one point was super organized and could like break down every project I needed to into a clear path. And I think a lot of that came from just like music culture in college and in high school. Like, I knew what I wanted to do, and so I broke it down. But when I began to kind of run Illumination Project and write more songs and make more content and travel more and lead worship here or set up this camp over here, like, there just became a lot of projects and a lot of things I wanted to do and things that I needed to do, but like balancing those was always tough. I don't know about you. Maybe you resonate with that. If so, drop a comment. I'd love to hear what you struggle with. But one way I'm going to try to combat this over the next 90 days is I'm going to take a little different approach to goal setting. This is something I haven't done before. I've set product goals and I've set kind of just high level goals for Illumination Project, but I've never done it this way. This was introduced to me by just a YouTuber who does like business and marketing and that sort of thing. But he talked about framing a goal in the form of a hypothesis. So if you've ever taken any science class, you know a hypothesis is a statement in which something that you would like to happen, but it's not provable yet. Like you put a hypothesis ahead of your experiment to see if you're right. This is just like the basic scientific method. So I'm going to be planning the next 90 days over going through this hypothesis method. Yeah, that's how you say it. Going through the next 90 days through this method. And so essentially the statement is this: if I blank, we, or Illumination Project, will get blank, right? This is like a very like strategic hypothesis. If I do this action should happen. And obviously I'm building off actions that I want to happen. I want more people to hear the music that we're putting out, see the content that we're putting out, invest into what we're doing through Illumination Project, through Patreon or other methods like that. So those are outcomes that I want, but determining that first step or that goal and phrasing it that way kind of gives you a more clear action behind it. So again, that statement is, if I do blank, we, Illumination Project, will get blank. And so it all is based around this idea of input and output, which is very digital, and I love it, especially when you're talking about sound. Whatever you put in is what you get out. It's also very spiritual. Whatever you put in is what you get out, but maybe that's a video for another time. But so this idea of input, what am I going to do? What am I going to, make more podcasts? Am I going to make more music? And am I going to shoot these videos? And then output, what do I think is going to happen if I do that? So, for example, one of my hypothesis is, if I release more music, we will get more ears on Spotify and the algorithm will feed more music to other people just based on habit of releasing music. So this is a thing that I know I need to do. It's been a minute since we started releasing, but now we have a process set up and are starting to do more releases. And so if I release more, we will get more. It's kind of easy math, right? Like if you are putting out one song a month, then you're going to get more ears on you if you're doing 2 songs a month. Seems pretty simple, but sometimes I think as an artist, like we don't want to break it down that simple. So I'm going to try it. If I do this, we will get this. And so the way then we follow that up is we measure it at the end of the quarter, at the end of the 90 days. You look back and said, okay, was I right? Did we get more streams because we released more music? Did we get more church bookings, or did we get a chance to lead at more camps because we reached out to more churches saying that we actually do that? And that's something that we love to do. Like, these are hypotheses that we kind of put out and see if that it happens. And we'll see how it goes. I mean, I've never done this kind of planning before. It kind of seems obvious, but it makes me really think about doing the proper and like kind of best step next for our organization and our band and what we do in our ministry. So I'll let you know how it goes, and hopefully you can keep track with what we're doing through Illumination Project through this channel and kind of see how this develops. I'll even go into, if you want, kind of sharing kind of updates on those goals. If you want to hear updates on the goals, you can head over to our email list and find out more there, or to our website. But either way, that is the next 90 days. Cool. That's just a quick update on some of the things I'm doing there. I'm going to take a drink, take just a quick second to adjust some things. You hang back. Those of you that are watching, I see you. Drop a comment. Tell me you're here. Tell me what's up. I'd love to hear from you. I'll be right back after this little commercial. Are you tired of getting the same old thing from artists? A song on Spotify for you to listen to and then move on to the next one. Us too. That's why we started The Crew. The Crew is a Patreon community where you get to partner with us in creating to bring glory to the Creator. And as a member, you'll get things like merchandise discounts, access to live streams that aren't shown anywhere else, along with devotional content that we're calling memos and meditations. But it's more than just the perks that you get. It's about being part of something larger than yourself and larger than what we're trying to do, which is providing a contrast culture than the things that are out there. providing art that is engaging and creative and encouraging those in their walk with Jesus. That's what we're trying to do. So head over, join our Patreon, join the crew. For less than $5 a month, you can join us over there and just watch and see what we can do together. I'm really excited about 2023. I hope you are too. So I'll see you over there. Click over, join the crew. See you inside. All right. So back at it. Hope you're doing well. Again, just really interested to see how this is going to go as I kind of share more about the behind the scenes. I have a list of topics I kind of just want to run through with you, and then we will leave this live stream up for a little bit of time, and then we're going to move it over to our Patreon. But for now, it'll stay up, and then we'll kind of split it up and distribute it as we do. But one of the things I want to dive into and start sharing more of is kind of tips and tricks that I've learned throughout my process of being an indie musician and an artist, and just a Christian one at that, because I think as Christians we have a different responsibility and a different calling when it comes to our art. So today I want to talk about overcoming songwriting block. Let me rephrase that. How do I want to say that? Okay, so one of the common misconceptions and struggles for artists and songwriters is writer's block. And so today I want to kind of talk through how I get over writer's block, what kind of causes it, and just how my mindset has kind of shifted when it comes to writing, especially lyrics and melodies and stuff like that. So I know this is a common struggle for musicians. In fact, there's one point in my life where if you asked me what I would rather do, I'd much rather write music than lyrics. I don't know why, but lyrics have always just been hard to come by for me. It's something that I always had to take time and actually sit down and write them. They don't just come to me, which is why I've kind of had to structure things a certain way and kind of learn different habits to start building this catalog of lyrics that I have and can pull from when I'm actually making music. So I'm going to share a couple tips on how to get over writer's block. If you do have it, if you've been like me in that situation, here are 3 things that I've done to kind of help remedy writer's block. So the first thing that I do is I change location. This might seem like a really weird and kind of odd thing to do, but sometimes just changing your location can change your mindset. Sometimes literally I can be here in my studio working on music in front of a computer screen and just really kind of digging in and diving in, and I hit a roadblock. I hit a wall that I can't come past because I just need to get out. And so sometimes I'll just grab my skateboard, skate around to a table that's out front, that's outside. Sometimes just that fresh air in your lungs or just a minute looking away from a screen is super helpful and good for you to just get over that hump. And like I said, sometimes when you change your location, you literally just change your mindset. You begin to see things a different way, quite literally, which then can lead you to new ideas and forming new concepts as you write lyrics. And that kind of leads me to my second tip, which would just be establish a routine. This is something I'm really bad at, but when I actually do it, it works. And sometimes I just find myself surprised that this thing that I know should work works, like, I don't know. Sometimes I convince myself that the things that I'm doing, though I know they're not going to work, they're not. And so I don't try them. One of this is routines, because I just struggle with routine. But my goal for routines is if you said, TJ, what's the ideal routine? I've read recently that a good suggestion for songwriters is to journal daily. And journaling daily is a little different than writing lyrics or writing a song daily. One, I think there's a lot less stress in having like a finalized product, but also it's more of a stream of conscious, a way to kind of empty all the things out of your head onto a sheet of paper that you can then look back to and refer to and pull from to actually make songs or other ideas come to fruition. You look back on the things that you kind of just dumped out of your head. Maybe you are like me and you'll be driving and kind of a lyric pops up. A lot of times I don't have anything to write that on, and so I'll record into a memo or whatever. But journaling is just a good practice of getting ideas onto paper regularly and kind of working over these ideas into your brain as you write. And along with establishing a routine, you can kind of build parameters as you're writing songs. This is something that I found super helpful. So my third tip would actually be building parameters, adding some structure to your songwriting time. And so what I mean by parameters is a couple things. One of those parameters can just simply be song structure. You can say, I'm going to write a verse, I'm going to write a chorus, I'm going to write a verse, and then we're going to go back to the chorus, and that's going to be the song. It's going to be super simple song structure. Those are parameters that force you to think creatively and differently as you put and kind of piece this song together. And so I think that's super helpful. I also think that adding parameters when it comes to instrumentation and the instruments that you use, whether it's a lot of production or a little production, can change the way you approach writing a lyric or a melody. Now, side note here, I will say that a good melody can be held in a high production song or in a low production kind of acoustic only song. A good melody, you know you have a good hook when you're playing an acoustic guitar and it works, and you're playing like a full production EDM track with a bunch of like stuff flying around and the melody just works. That means it's a solid melody. So stick with it, write it down, voice memo it, do what you can to remember it because it's a good one. So it's those three simple things that I think can really help you kind of get over writer's block: the change location, establish a routine, and building parameters. And just for fun, let me go ahead and give you a fourth one, and that's get out of your head. Sometimes the things you need to say are simple. If you are a Christian songwriter like me, sometimes you want to write this big novel thing, or even this like new theological concept that you put into and dial into a song, and it's just the perfect idea and it's really going to change people's lives. I want that too. But sometimes the thing we just need to say is super simple. We don't need to be novel as Christian artists. We just need to be honest. I think you can lead a lot of people, influence a lot of people, and point a lot of people to Jesus if you're just honest, open, and transparent with what you make. So, what a freeing concept. You don't have to be novel. You can go out today, make a simple thing, be really honest and transparent with it, and trust that the Lord's going to use it in some people's lives. And that's really it, right? The goal of our art is to form us and to train us. And that's kind of what I talked about earlier in that video with Jackie Hill Perry and Tim Ross. The music forms us and it shapes us. And so as a Christian songwriter, get out of your head, say the most simple thing, and that should at least lead you on past the wall of songwriting and writer's block. So hope that was helpful to the few of you that are out here listening and might be watching this back. Have you ever struggled with writer's block? If you're out there, have you ever come across like a practice that works really well, or some, like maybe you light a candle? I know a lot of writers do that. They'll light a candle as like a ritual to begin the writing process, which I think is cool. I haven't quite done that yet. Haven't gotten into the candle burning situation yet. All right. Let me see what else we have on the docket here for today before I let you all go. Nice. Cool. All right, I'm going to play a quick snippet of On and On. Actually, no. So one of the things I want to do is start sharing more on the stream different content and ideas that we've already done that maybe you haven't seen because you've been on our email list or anything like that. So check out this quick thought about the song Throne. That's a throwback to last year. But check this out, and I'll be right back, and we'll talk about some worship leading ideas and performance and artists and the difference between the two, and we'll get into that. So if you have any questions about live performance, worship leading, stuff like that, drop those in the chat. I'd love to read them. And I'll be right back in just a couple minutes. Not even a whole minute, I don't think. Throne is about the freedom that comes with surrendering something that's not yours to begin with. You know, I think a lot of the anxiety in our life comes from the fact that we try to take hold of something that we were never meant to rule over, and that's our lives. We find identity in things that aren't Christ, whether it's the things of this world or something that is our own doing or something that we created, especially as an artist. I feel like oftentimes I can claim identity as an artist, and I let that begin to rule and reign over my entire life and how I make decisions and how I do things. And so really this song was a deep dive into that and how it's causing division, it's causing brokenness in our world, all because we're claiming this to be more true than Christ. So I hope you are as excited to hear it as I am to share it. This is our first song from the IP retreat, the time that we got to get away and bring back a couple songs for you. So July 30th, check it out. Throne, available everywhere you can find music. All right. So that is just a little behind the scenes of Throne, little throwback. I still love that song. There's something about playing that song live that when we just really dig into the bridge, just people seem to go crazy because it's just fun. It's a fun one to play live. I haven't done the rap live yet, just because rapping that Braille verse can be kind of tough, and I don't really know how I could do that. I don't know if I don't know if my chops are cut out for rapping quite yet. We'll see. Maybe one day. But if you're out there have any questions, I'd love to answer them while I'm on live, while office hours is happening. If you're a Christian artist and you're interested in learning more, I'd love to help in any way that I can. Or if you are just a Christian looking to grow and you're following the way of Jesus, then I want to help in any way that I can. One of the ways we're doing that, if you are just now jumping on the stream, is we have a Psalm challenge. So if you go to illuminationproject.org/Psalm challenge, this is essentially a 5-day series where I kind of share some of the Psalms that have meant a lot to me this past year, give you a quick blurb about it, but then also share a journaling prompt and a creative prompt to kind of help push you into living into what the Lord has for you in regards to creating things out of this world that he's given you, and allowing that to form your love for him. So check that out. Again, that's illuminationproject.org/Psalm challenge. Psalm challenges over here, Psalm challenge. And if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe and like before we jump into this next section that I wanted to kind of talk about. So when we're talking about worship leaders and we're talking about artists, sometimes there are many differences. In fact, I put out a video earlier about some of the differences that I think there are, and in some ways in which I thought there were differences at one point and have kind of changed my mind on. But when it comes down to it, a lot of times we confuse the two because our interaction with artists and our interaction with worship leaders are kind of very similar in the way we react to them, in which we kind of go and there's a stage and they're on the stage and they're talking or leading or singing or doing something on a stage, and we're off platform worshiping with the congregation. And this is not a comment on worship or singing in the church. That will be a different video for a different time. But I wanted to talk about maybe just some tips and ideas for both the worship leader and for the artist when it comes to just stage performance, stage presence, being on stage in front of other people, sharing about a song. Both an artist and a worship leader do that. And a lot of this kind of got brought up, and I started thinking more about this because just recently, actually, I was shared by a friend at a church that we went and we did a camp with them, I think, and we've done a couple different things with them in the past. And after one of the camps, one of the students that was at that camp got saved, and in their testimony was sharing about our song Look, and how that kind of caused her to think about her position and how much the Lord cared for her, and kind of caused her to begin to ask some of those beginning salvation gospel conversation questions, which to me just not only blew my mind, but was also super flattering and just grateful that the Lord would let me participate in that and do that in that kind of way at the camp. And so that then kind of puts this huge responsibility on both worship leaders and artists in how we set up these songs and how these songs are then handed over or delivered to the people that are listening and digesting these songs. So I just want to kind of talk through some concepts and some basic like core principles for people that might find themselves on a stage setting up a song. And the first thing is stage presence. This is a really easy one. If you've ever stepped on a stage, somebody's told you probably to grab a mic, hold it a certain way, or smile. That's simple stage presence stuff that I think applies kind of generally across the board, but specifically for worship leaders and for artists, I want you to do a couple things when it comes to being on stage. I've just seen it time and time again of worship leaders on stage or artists at a concert. Is I want you to look like you want to be there. So many times I'm guilty of this as well. Is I'll be on stage and I'll be really serious and in the moment, and just I forget that like what my face looks like and what my body's doing, and I'll like slump over or look down or that sort of thing. And what that communicates to the people listening and trying to enjoy that moment with you is it communicates that you don't really want to be there. So lift your head up, put your shoulders back, look like you're having just a good time. And when it comes to kind of presenting yourself to the people in front of you, move your music stand to the side. If you have to have it, that's fine. Ideally, there wouldn't be one because you'd know what you're playing, but maybe you're like me, and my brain just doesn't work sometimes. So I have an iPad, but I try to keep it out of the way. And my reasoning for that, I get that actually from my study in classical music when I was on stage and I was playing saxophone and I was studying how to perform in that context. They would have us take our music stands, push them all the way down, push them all the way forward and to the side. And their reasoning was really interesting for this. They said, the reason we want you to push your stand all the way down and all the way to the side is so that it opens you up to the audience that you're performing to. Now, if they could get that, how much more important is it for us that are leading worship or trying to connect on a very deep level because there's this huge spiritual truth that we're trying to communicate? How much more should we kind of open ourselves up and present ourselves well and kind of get that barrier? Like it's one less barrier to stand in front of you and your congregation or audience that you're trying to communicate this thing to. So simple, down, front, out to the side. Real easy. And last but not least, with the stage presence piece, just look around as you're singing, as you're doing these things. Look around, watch faces, watch the reactions that people are having as you sing. This might help you set up other songs well, or kind of direct a moment if you're actually looking at faces and seeing what is happening. And the beauty of this is, as Christian artists, like the Spirit is moving ideally through our music. And so we can kind of be really dependent on the Spirit as we lead a moment, not just a service. This is for artists too, but lead a moment. And that kind of leads me to the second point, which is audience interaction or congregation interaction. Sometimes we don't like to refer to them as the audience, even though when you're looking at them, they're the audience of people that you have your attention on. Either way, different video maybe. But the first thing is talk to them as a collective, but also in a personal way. So many times I see just an artist like walk on stage and start playing. And it's like, whoa, like we just came here to watch you, like say what's up, you know? But don't say what's up in like the worship leader way that's like, hey church, good morning. And then that's all you do. Like say good morning, say it's good to see you. If you're in a church context, that should be super personal anyways. Like say hi to somebody in the front row that you know, or a couple rows back, like say what's up. These are your family. So lead them well in that way. And I think for worship leaders too, you can ask questions. You can ask people to do things. You can ask them to put their hands out, do something physical with their bodies. Because I think as musicians, we get this already because sometimes we're playing our instrument as we're worshiping or as we're playing a song. And it automatically gets us into it more because we're physically moving. The Lord made us both physical and emotional. And so channel that in your worship leading, channel that in your concerts. Maybe have your audience kind of close their eyes if it's a really reflective song, so that they can kind of hone in and focus on the words if that's what your hope is. Maybe if you're a worship leader, have everybody take a breath of relief as they walk in the door, because probably a lot of them just threw like 6 kids over their shoulder as they like ran to Sunday school to throw them in and to just barely be there on time. So invite them to take a minute and take a breath. The Lord's made us spiritual and physical beings for a reason. And so I think if you try to incorporate that into your worship services, you'll be served really, really well. And last but not least, incorporate some form of storytelling in your set. Again, this is whether you're a worship leader or an artist, incorporate some form of storytelling. Storytelling allows us to communicate something, a big concept, into a short way. And so some ways to kind of churn up this storytelling idea is you can ask yourself 3 questions. Why is it important to sing or to listen to this song? Why might it be hard to sing or listen to this song? And are there any hurdles? So here are those 3 again. First, why is it important to sing or listen to this song? Why do people need to pay attention? Why do they need to be there and sing the song, or why do they need to sit there and listen to the song? What is the song saying? What's it about? This will help you kind of form these ideas if you're able to kind of walk through why it's even important. Why is it worth their time? And maybe that changes the way you put songs in a set, is you say, is this worth their time? Is this providing value to them today? And that is the next kind of question, is why might this be hard? And the reason you want to ask this question is if you know people in your audience, if you know people in your congregation as a worship leader, why might this song be really hard to sing? Maybe this line says a truth that is hard for somebody to resonate with because they're going through a really hard time right now. Maybe somebody just lost a kid, or maybe somebody just lost their job, and you're singing about a concept where the Lord is never going to let them down. Although that is a truth, and a truth that they should claim and hold on to in this moment, it can be very hard to do that. And so just acknowledging that truth being hard for them to recognize and reconcile with in their daily life today will help you tell a better story in what you're actually trying to sing. And that kind of leads to the last and final point when it comes to like setting up and storytelling in your set. And that is, are there any hurdles? Do you need to teach through a concept in order for somebody to sing it or for somebody to listen to it? Is there like maybe you're about to sing a song that you wrote and there's this play on words that you want to walk somebody through, because not only will it provide a better value for them to listen and sing it later, but it also has tremendous spiritual formation value because you were fun in the way in which you did the wordplay. You know, one of the ways I've done this is in our last song, On and On. The end of the song, the chorus adds, yet on and on you go. When I'm talking about the Lord, I kind of change the chorus a little bit. I do this in the song Labyrinth as well too, where the progression stays the same for the last chorus, but the words are more positive and there's major chords, so things sound happier and all that kind of stuff. Like sometimes explaining that allows people to take one more step further into how this music plays a role in their spiritual formation, and they will get more out of it. I promise, because they've come and told me, and because I got to share the story I shared at the beginning of the girl that this made her start asking questions as to whether she really did surrender her entire life over to Jesus. What a thing we can do as just artists and musicians, is point people to Jesus through what he's done in us, through telling stories well, interacting with them as they're singing, and just looking around to see what the Lord is doing in your ministry, in your art, whatever you might find yourself doing, he's working in it. So hopefully that was encouraging for you, and you can check out some of our other videos on just tips for artists and tips for worship leaders and just how spiritual formation and art play a role in our daily lives. Are you tired of getting the same old thing from artists? A song on Spotify for you to listen to and then move on to the next one? Us too. That's why we started The Crew. The Crew is a Patreon community where you get to partner with us in creating to bring glory to the Creator. And as a member, you'll get things like merchandise discounts, access to live streams that aren't shown anywhere else, along with devotional content that we're calling memos and meditations. But it's more than just the perks that you get. It's about being part of something larger than yourself and larger than what we're trying to do, which is providing a contrast culture than the things that are out there. Providing art that is engaging and creative and encouraging those in their walk with Jesus. That's what we're trying to do. So head over, join our Patreon, join The Crew for less than $5 a month. You can join us over there and just watch and see what we can do together. I'm really excited about 2023. I hope you are too. So I'll see you over there. Click over, join The Crew. See you inside. Hey, I am right outside my studio. In fact, my studio is right inside that door. And I want you to picture right now that you're about to walk through that door. Come sit and hang out with me, because this is time for open sessions where you get to ask questions. We can talk about like relevant topics in the music industry and the Christian music industry, spiritual development as a Christian, all those things. Imagine you're about to walk through that door right there, It's the Open Sessions. Let's hang out. All right. Hey, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them. But thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Hopefully this was insightful as we've been streaming for quite a bit now. Just a little quick pop in update. So again, these are office hours. I'm going to try to do these more consistently and kind of in a rhythm so that more people can join us and comment and ask any questions that they might need. But yeah, my hope was just to update you, share a couple tips, which I've done. So I hope you all are well. Share this with your friends. This stream will be up for a little bit, but then it'll go over to our Patreon community. Or if you just want some more information about what we do and what we're trying to do as far as curating a culture for the kingdom, you can check out that on our website at illuminationproject.org. Join the Psalms Challenge, do all the things, but also, last but not least, just subscribe. Keep up with what we're doing here. I'm really excited about what the Lord is kind of allowing and kind of calling us into to this season. And so I'm excited to get things kicked off. So thank you guys, and I will talk to you later.